All right. Welcome everybody to week 3 of classes in session. We are so excited tonight to hear from Chasity Robinson and Ray all about leading and teaching them up after you have sponsored. So we have gone through week 1, PRV. Week 2 was recruiting and sponsoring. And now is the basics 101 of how you move forward after you get a new teamie. So we're going to go ahead and get started with prayer, and then I will pass it off to the 2 rock stars that are speaking. So dear Lord, I come to you this evening. I bring to you everything that has been prepared for this training tonight. Lord, I ask that you would have brought every single person that needs to hear from these women tonight, Lord. Everything that they speak comes from you, and that you would just move and have your way tonight, and bless every single person on this call's business and watching the recording. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, have at it.
I was muted when I said amen. Here I am. Hold on a minute. Okay. My door is locked. My mother-in-law is here because my husband's working late. So if you hear some crazies beating in the background, that's what it is. So tonight we are going to be talking to you guys about Leadership 101, aka Teach Them Up. So I want you to know that if you are showing up on this call live, we see you, we notice you, you are showing up as a leader, and hashtag give yourself a high five because you are showing the way. I know a lot of you probably had things going on today that made it to where you probably didn't want to hop on, and likewise with the rest of us leaders as well. So we see you for popping up on here. So in true teacher fashion, I'm going to talk to you guys about Leadership 101 with the who, what, when, where, why, and how, because that's just how my brain works. And I also want you to know, like before, we said that the classrooms are building upon each other, right? So PRV is obviously the first class. You need to master PRV before you move on to sponsoring. And then obviously you need to master sponsoring. However, let me also just say that sponsoring is never something that you truly just master. Leadership isn't something that you truly just always master. Like, there is learning involved every single day, every single month, every single week. So even if you haven't sponsored someone yet and you are listening to this call, I do encourage you to listen to what we're talking about so that you're ready to implement things like that once you do sponsor. Obviously, don't rely heavily on this. Absolutely focus on bringing in new teamies. But I do think it's very important for you to understand, if you're wanting to grow your business, I'm sure you're on this call. If you're wanting to grow your business, the way to do that is through sponsoring and teaching them how to do that. If you don't want to grow your business or you don't want to be a leader, that's okay. You can take a non-leadership role and you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But everything that we're going to talk about tonight is basically like the basics of what you need to know. So let's talk about who. Okay. Who do we work with? Who are you if you are a leader? So I want you to know that from the very first day, honestly, that you join this business, you are a leader because you're a leader of your own business. But from the day that you sponsor someone, you are a leader. You do not have to be a lead consultant to be a leader, in my opinion. Now, other people's opinions may be different, but if you're sponsoring someone, you are their mentor, you are their leader, you are someone that they are going to look to. Okay. If you're sponsoring someone, it is your responsibility to train them. That is your responsibility. Let me say that tagging someone on a team page is not training them. That's not what we do. Tagging people in posts, yeah, it's great. But how many times do you get tagged in a post and you don't have time to read it, but you make that notification go away and you're going to go back and read it later? How many times, if you were brand new, I don't know about you, but I got tagged in a million different posts and I was overwhelmed and was like, forget it. So tagging them is not the way to train them. Yes, that is a way. If they ask you a question, you can absolutely tag them in a post and say, hey, go see what I tagged you in. But just tagging them in a new consultant post on your team page is not the way to train them. At the very beginning, when you sponsor someone, you have to create the culture that you want. I know culture is a cuss word because we don't really like that word. However, you are going to create the team that you want. And that starts with one. Many of us on here were doing team meetings way before we were a director. Many of us were doing them when we had one person, when we had 5 people, but maybe only one person showed up. You get to create that. If you're not creating it, it's going to be born on its own. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a positive way or in a positive way. People stay in this business for the relationships that they build. They are not going to stay if they don't feel valued. If your team members just feel like a number, they're not going to stay. Create a culture where people never want to leave. And then when we're talking about who do you work with, you work with the willing. You work with the willing. We're not pulling people up mountains, but we're also not pushing people to do things that they don't want to do. So when someone joins, it is super, super important for you to ask them why they joined. What do they want from this business? Get an income goal from them. A lot of people just join to buy from themselves, but that changes. I joined just to buy for myself. Many other people joined just to buy from themselves, and then that changed. You don't want to push someone off by wanting it too much for them. So, and then also when it comes to an income goal, a lot of times if people are joining for the money, that's great, but they have unrealistic goals of what they have to do to actually make that money. So if someone says that they want a $600 paycheck, you know that you can tell them they can have 2,000 PRV every single month without any leadership bonuses, or they can make their life easier by continuing to grow their team. But getting that realistic income goal from them is so, so important. Even so, I joined just to buy for myself, but I was like, an extra $200 a month would be a game changer for me. That would mean I could go to the grocery store and not have to worry about being able to feed me and my kid. So really get to know them in that aspect. And then when it comes to who to work with, you need to pull reports from the workstation. We're just talking about very, very basic stuff tonight. We're talking about the first 70 days. So when it comes to pulling reports, that means you should know when they joined. Obviously, you should know their shooting star date. You should know their sensational start date. Those are the types of reports we're talking about just right now. You should know that. If you get a reinstatement, you should know when they reinstate to when they have to have that minimum 200. Those are the things we're talking about tonight. There's a million other trainings about other leadership reports, but being very, very intentional, and also essential to certified. That is also one that is very, very important. Knowing how to run reports is going to help you build your business. And that's going to make you be able to be very intentional with who you're working with, why you're working with them, etc. Last 2 things I want to talk about with who. Positivity brings positivity. So don't sponsor someone that you know is a negative Nancy and you can't stand. And I know that sounds awful, but they will be somebody else's like greatest asset. If they're not your people, it's going to be super frustrating to sponsor them. And I know that sounds really awful, but if you want to build a successful business, you want to bring people, you want to bring your A team in, you want to bring that positivity, you want to bring people that you want into that. And then when it comes to negativity, raise your hand or tell me in the chat if you've ever sponsored someone that's just super negative and they're like, I can't get anybody to buy. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing that. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Lord Jesus, that it's not just me. You will have those people. I just need to tell you that you will have those people. And the way that you interact with that is going to determine if they continue doing that to you, if that makes sense. So I know that us SSDs, we don't allow negativity on our team pages. If you want to vent, you can vent to your friend. You vent up, you never vent down. You vent up to your upline. Sometimes that means people vent up to us. You know what I do sometimes? If it's really negative, I read it and I don't respond, because guess what? Any response is a positive response when it comes to negativity where people are just bitching and moaning, honestly. And then there's only, like Amber said, kill them with kindness. There, absolutely flip it to the positive, and your mindset is absolutely going to help change their mindset. Some people are just genuinely negative people at first, but Cincy can help mold them into seeing things from the positive. And here's a pro tip. When you are looking at who you want to work with and you're working with someone, I want you to imagine that every single person that joins your team and that you come into contact with wears a name tag that says, make me feel special. Make me feel special. If you can make every single one of them feel special, and not just like a number. That is going to be something that's going to make your people stay around, and it just makes you a good human. Okay. All right. So what do you actually do as a leader? What do you actually do as a leader? Tell me in the comments or in the chat what you think you actually do as a leader. Tell me if you think leadership is hard. Yes, Amber said that you can be the positive, you can be the happiness and positivity in someone's life. And Cincy can absolutely be that. Cincy was that for me. Cincy made me a better person. It made me happier. It made me do all of the things. So yes, people are saying leadership is hard. Absolutely. They're saying lead by example, be the change you want to see. Be the positivity and the change. It's challenging. It's worth it. Absolutely. So all of those things that you're saying are absolutely valid and absolutely true. It is challenging. But I also want you guys to realize that leadership is very simple. We've made it very difficult with a million systems, with a million ways to do things, and it's not hard. What you do as a leader is you share how you're working with your team. You share everything that you're doing with your team. And I'm not saying you have to give them every single verbatim thing, but if you write an email, share an email. If you see somebody working on your team, share that they're working. If you come up with a good post that's working well, share that. If you're doing mail outs, you share that. If you're pulling reports, you share that. Guys, at the end of the day, there is not enough sharing going on within, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that within my group, there's not as much sharing as it should be, because people feel like they don't have value to give. Do you know that every single one of us SSDs feel like we don't have value to give daily? I mean, I feel like I can say that for all of us. Like, there's always times that we go through challenges where we feel like we don't have anything to give, and you do. It can be something that's so simple, and it absolutely changes the way someone looks at it. Okay. It's absolutely part of being a business owner. So leaders share how they are working with their team, but also this is something that is so important. Leaders prioritize their business. Leaders work their business first. Leaders work their business first. If you don't have your 500 in, it is the 21st of the month, or 20th of the month, you need to be backing up, back that ass on up, girl. We got to be working on that PRV, because we don't need to be working with our team if we can't lead from the front. You should never ask your team to do something that you're not willing to do. Does that mean you have to be a 2000 by the 5th or by the 15th hitter? No. But if you are saying that you are a leader, you need to be practicing the 500 by the 15th. And I think that I can speak for everybody on that. 500 is a minimum. And by the 15th, that means that you are front loading your calendar. That means that you have Cincy Club. That means that you are doing the things that leaders do. It's okay to have low PRV months. We all have lower months, but we're all making sure that our business is okay before everyone else's. And I can say that I see that mistake a lot in this business, is that as soon as someone promotes, they're only focusing on their team. You can't. The team that gets you to promote is not going to be the team that keeps you there. Okay. So we say 500 by the 15th, active frontline by the 5th, or you can stretch that out to the 15th too. When we're talking active frontline, that doesn't mean 3. Like, I've heard Whitney say that. I heard her say it at SFR, and I was like, wow, like, that needs to be something that we continue to talk about too. If you don't have high active frontline, you should always be continuously building that frontline. But you also need to know that statistically, only about half of your frontline is going to be active every month. So if you only have 3 frontline, you can count on 1.5 people to be active, right? And so that active frontline is a super, super important number for you to continually be looking at. We're not just looking at PRV numbers. We're looking at active frontline. And I know us SSDs, we compare our active frontlines with each other. We make goals for how we're going to do that. You can't make other people work, but you can continue to sponsor. You can control that part of it. Sponsoring. Daily consistent action is so important. Consistency has been preached for the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to continue to go into that, but daily consistent action. I have a quote above my desk that says, earn your leadership every day. So I earn my leadership every day. So if you can tell yourself that you need to earn your leadership every day, or you're going to do an action to earn your leadership, then you honestly, for me, if I didn't earn my leadership that day, I go to bed feeling real guilty. And I know that about myself. So it's something that I have to keep up there to remind myself. Train yourself or learn something new every day. That can be something super simple as just even talking to somebody. You learn something new every day. You're listening to a podcast, you're training. Obviously, every single day is not necessarily sustainable, but if you're going to work your business 5 days a week, you should be at least training yourself or listening to something uplifting 5 days a week. Done is better than perfect. Stop trying to recreate the wheel. Get it done. Nobody cares what it looks like. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay. Where did all the rest of, I was like, where did my notes go? Okay. So, like I said before, leadership is not something fancy for the gram. Nobody cares about Instagram. Nobody cares about Facebook. I can tell you right now that you can watch on Instagram and Facebook and in these groups, you can see people that are posting all the pretty things. They ain't getting paid at title. Know that for a fact. Okay. They're not getting paid at title. Peace out, Girl Scout. I said what I said. They're not getting paid at title. Just because I'm not posting something doesn't mean I'm not getting paid at title. I am getting paid at title, but I may not be posting all the pretty things because it's not necessarily Instagram worthy, but it's changing people's lives and it's building people up. So don't worry about doing things for the gram. Okay. There's a time and place to scroll and get inspo. Nobody cares about that. Okay. Listen to this, and this may hurt some feelings. It ain't your director or your superstar director's show on their team page. It ain't their show. We don't care. We have those pages for y'all. Honestly, I want to get rid of mine almost every day. Not because it's just work for me at this point. Like, the pages are for you guys. And a lot of times, and I'm not saying specifically because I know I got some girls on the call. I don't want y'all to feel like I'm attacking y'all. I'm just saying in general, I think I can speak for a lot of us. We are not seeing the engagement that we would like to see because we know that those pages are not for us. Those pages are for you guys. And so it's so important for us to give back to the community that we gave or that we got from. For instance, I trained myself watching Christina Stainbrook, Jennifer Anderson, Katie Farner, all these people on YouTube. That's why I have a YouTube channel now. Not because I want to be Cincy famous. I really just want to hide in a closet and nobody know who the hell I am. But that's why I have a YouTube channel, because I'm giving back to the people who gave to me. And that's why I so openly share everything. And I'm not one of those people that like hoards all my information. I share with everybody, because if it weren't for those people, I would have never learned. And I want every single one of you that are on this call right now to know that you have something to give to a team page every single day. And just like you may get, or tell me in the chat, do you get discouraged when you post something on your team page and nobody comments or nobody likes it? I do. So I'm sure that a lot of you guys do too. And I mean, we're superstar directors and we get discouraged just the same way that you do. But I want you to know that that doesn't matter. You do it for the one. You do it for the one that's reading it and not commenting. You do it for the one that's busy at work, but they're peeing and they can read whatever it is that you posted. Do it for the one. If we looked at comments and likes that we got back on shit that we post, even in the real world, none of us would be doing what we're doing anymore. Because people, I said it at World Tour, I'll say it again, people are like Santa, they always watching. That doesn't mean they're commenting, that doesn't mean they're liking, but they are watching. Trust and believe, when I was working full-time, I saw all the things, but I couldn't comment on them, because I'm gonna be honest, I work with some snitches bitches. And they worked with me too. And if I commented on a team page during school hours, I'm not gonna lie, them bitches were jealous and they turned me in. And I'm sorry I said what I said, man, but they would turn me in. So I literally couldn't even comment on a team page. I'm sorry. But like, that's I couldn't engage during work hours. Exactly. And I'm never going to get upset with somebody because they can't engage with that in that way. Okay. Leaders have a system for how they train people. When I say that you have a system, that does not mean fancy. That does not mean something cute from Canva. That does not mean something crazy on your Google Drive. That doesn't mean anything. All a system is, all it is so Eric could go look and see what Whitney trained her new person on if he needed to go see what the next step was. Or so Anthony, praise Jesus, my husband ain't never training nobody. So Eric, if you can train them, I love it. Anthony and Chase, I think they're in timeout. I don't know, but Chase has been, it's reproducible, and somebody can actually go and pick that up and take that from you if you needed them to. So a system is where you can keep up with, and someone else can keep up with who you talk to and what you talk to them about. Yeah, right. Raise hail, praise Dale is what they'd be learning. So that's all that we mean. It can literally just be a checklist, and a system is just something that you do consistently. So whatever it is that looks like for you. And if you have months, I saw someone on the page sponsor 5 people this month. When you sponsor 5 people in a month, you ain't gonna remember who you talked to about what. And your phone could get dropped in the toilet and it's gone, and you don't have the info, and you don't have any idea where you left off. Okay. And then when and where, and then I am going to pass it off to the tangible activities. So when and where do I train my team? So the first thing that you need to know is good leaders have boundaries. We are not a 24-hour Walgreens. We ain't a 7-Eleven. You're not coming to get a Slurpee in 24 hours a day. It's not happening. Leaders have boundaries. Okay. That means that you can set business hours and stick to them. That does not mean that you have to answer someone's question at 1 o'clock in the morning. Your business hours are yours. If you work night shift, your business hours are going to look different. They're going to look different than someone who works a 9-to-5 job. They're going to look different than someone who just works from home. And you are the only one that gets to decide that. The biggest thing that you need to do with that, though, is set the expectation with your team. Set the expectation of, this is when you'll respond. This is how I'll respond. So for instance, for me, I don't respond to Facebook Messenger about team questions. I don't, because Facebook Messenger is for me and my customers and building relationships. And I would rather keep that separate. You can email me and everybody has my phone number. That's just how I choose to run my business. I'll literally open it and not respond, because any response is a positive response. That's just how it is. So set your business hours and stick to them. Set up the expectations that work for you. Turn your phone on D&D. You can do that, guys. That's okay. You can set up those exceptions for your husband and your mama to come through. Set them up. It's not rude. It's taking care of you, because if you don't set those expectations, you are going to burn out and you're going to hate it and you're never going to want to do it again. Something else is the 24-hour rule. This is up to you. For instance, if someone, and I'm going to say that this is different for someone who's absolutely brand new. My brand new people, I'm not going to wait 24 hours to respond to them, because that's different. But if I have a team member that's been with me for a while, or I know that they can figure it out, I wait 24 hours before I respond. A lot of times it only takes about an hour, maybe even 30 minutes for them to respond back and be like, oh, I found it. Never mind. Because they wanted to use you as Google. We are not Google. Everything is Googleable. Everything you want to know is on YouTube, but we are not that. And that's okay to look at it, read it, and not respond. Know that you have that power. But any response is a positive response outside of business hours. If it gets ridiculous, remind them. We have it at the bottom of our email signatures, what our business hours are. And that's just an expectation. Everyone has business, like other stores have business hours, you can have them too. Outside of being a brand new consultant, this kind of goes with that too, but you teach them where to find the answers. Instead of just answering their question, teach them how to find it. I'm going to be honest, sometimes our workstation is hard to find things. So if they can't find it, yes, I may go find it for them and tell them the words that I put in, because I'm going to be honest, we struggle with it sometimes. But show them, if you know that how long wax bars last is in the product training guide, tell them to go to the product training guide. Hey, you can find all information on products in the product training guide. Tell them to go find it. They can, and you can say like, come back to me and tell me what your answer was. I do love the screen recording if that's something that needs to be a teachable moment right then. But absolutely, my advice is to teach them where to go find it first before you do a screen recording. If you are doing screen recordings and stuff like that, my advice, put them on YouTube or put them on a pin post in your team that you're only doing the work once. Don't make your life harder. And then sometimes when they're really great questions where I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet a bunch of other people have that question. I'm like, post it on the team page, girl. post on the team page. I give other people the chance to answer it first. And if they don't, then I can go and answer it, or I can tag a leader and have a leader answer it, because that's helping other people. Whatever you do for someone, you want to make sure that you're not having to redo it over and over and over again. Our workstation is very underutilized. A lot of people just don't go and use the things that are there. So definitely do that. The why we're going to train people. And I'm almost running out of time. Why we train people is because you can't do anything alone in this business. We're a people-based business. The more people you bring with you to the top, the bigger your business is going to go. And be a good human. Don't sponsor someone if you're just going to sponsor and ghost them. Why we train people. People's first paycheck has a definite reflection on their view of success in this business, especially if they're wanting to create an income. Their first paycheck can make a big difference. So if you can shoot for certified that first month, that is a great way to set that baseline. And obviously, once you do that, your paycheck increases. Right now, I know if you're watching this on YouTube, we may not be in this incentive, but currently we're in the summer incentive where we are getting rewarded, or new team members are getting rewarded for earning Sensational Start Level 3. They get registration to SFR. We all know that SFR is a game changer for your business, and Cincy always rewards behaviors that they want repeated. As a leader, you should do the exact same thing. Reward the behaviors that you want repeated, no matter how big, no matter how small. That doesn't always mean PRV based. And here's a fun fact. Those people that earn Sensational Start Level 3 make it to director 14% of the time. That's a big number. I know you may be thinking 14%, that's not like a big deal. It's a big deal. So if you can get someone to Sensational Start, which is their first 70 days, that sets them up for success. Because think about that. Those small wins that people are getting set them up to feel so much more confident. And honestly, I didn't even know what Sensational Start was when I joined. I earned level 2. I get mad at myself now that I didn't earn level 3, but it was because I didn't know about it. So we sponsor and we train our people because that's what good humans do. That's what good sponsors do. That's what leaders do. Okay. I know that this was all very, very general. Ray is going to go into how we train all of these people, or your new people with actionable tasks. Anything that you hear Ray say, everybody does it their own way. There's not one way or the highway. And I know that she's going to talk about that too. Whatever it is, make it you. And you may hear a lot of things tonight, and you may feel overwhelmed. I don't want you to be stuck in the overwhelm. And this is the last thing that I'm going to say, especially with your new team members. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. Meaning, if someone just joined and they don't know what the heck they're doing, but they are so excited and their energy is so good, that is so much better to work with than someone who got all of the information thrown at them and they're frozen because they have no idea what to do. Keep that high energy when they first join and help them get where they need to be. Don't word vomit and give them all the things. So I am so thankful to be on this call, and I hope you guys found some value in that. And Ray, take it away, girl.
Okay, that was so good. I hope you guys have all the notes. Keep it going too, because just like Chastity said, I'm actually going to tell you guys what I specifically do and what I focus on once I sponsor someone. Okay. And what I want you guys to realize is, let's say that you don't have a new teamie. You can also use these steps to help reinstate their business. Okay. And just so you guys know, in case you didn't, anybody who has ever been a Cincy consultant, as long as it's been 3 months since they went inactive as a consultant, they can come back for free, guys. Okay. They can come back for free. All they have to do is log into their workstation. If they don't remember their login information, you can give them Cincy support number. They can contact them. Cincy will help them get all their information to reinstate. And then they can actually keep their sponsor, or they can change their sponsor to you or to whoever that they connect with. Okay. So reinstatements, they don't underestimate a reinstatement. Okay. You never know when someone could have joined a year ago, however long ago, and it wasn't their time. And now they're coming back and they're on fire. Okay. So And not only can these steps be used for reinstatements, they can also be used for current teamees, frontline, downline, who have come to you and they're like, hey, I want to make a change and I want to make this business work. Okay. Maybe they're going from hobbyist. Maybe they have something in their life happening. Maybe they just lost their job and they want to take their business from hobbyist to full-fledged. Okay. So, Chastity just said it. Everything I'm about to go over with you guys, you do not have to do it exactly like this. Okay. Take these basic fundamentals and change them up to work for you and your schedule and your teamie too. Okay. And put them into place, put them into action. Okay. So the first thing, or the next thing I want to say is to remind you guys, Chastity already said it, but before you even start with these steps, your business needs to be running that month. Okay. You need to have at least your 500 PRV in by the 15th before you start training anyone. Okay. Because what's going to happen, and I've been here, I think a lot of us have been here, you get so sucked in with training someone that end of month comes around and you're trying to help them hit their goals, their paycheck goals, their promotion goal, whatever their goal is. You're so invested in helping them that all of a sudden you look at your own dashboard and you're like, well, crap, I don't have my 500. Or maybe you do have your 500, but you haven't met your own PRV goals. You haven't done anything else for your own business. You're not front loaded for the next month. You haven't closed out parties, all the things. Okay. So make sure that your business comes first. Okay. For me personally, the first week of every month is for my business. I don't do any training. This is personal preference. I don't do any training with anybody. It's for my customers. It's for my personal business. It's for me to get my PRV in check. It's for me to make sure that my parties are running. And it's for me to make sure that I have everything down pat for my own business. Okay. And then the following weeks is for my team. Okay. And group. So step one, I want you guys to write these down. Okay. This is super important because the assignment that we have after I speak is going to be based off of what Chastity and I have talked about. Okay. So if you're not taking notes, then you're probably going to fail the assignment. Okay. And we will give out F's in this classroom. Okay. Just kidding. But okay. So step one, this is the most important step of what I'm about to tell you. You need to get to know your teamie. Okay. Whoever you are working with, whether they joined directly under you, whether you're working with someone in your downline that reached out to you, you need to get to know them. You need to know why they joined this business, why they reinstated this business, why they reached out for you, why they reached out to you for help, what their goals are, what they want from this business, what's their paycheck goal for the current month. Okay. They don't have to have long-term goals right now, but start small. Ask them, hey, what do you want to get out of your business this month? What is your goal paycheck for March 10th? What is the number you want to see on your paycheck when you get an email saying you've received a Cincy payment on March 10th? Okay. Get to know them. This is super important because if you skip this step, and I can say this because I've done it, I've been here. If you skip this step and you just dive right on in because you're assuming, right? Assuming makes an ass out of you and me, right? Has anyone ever heard that? If you assume that someone joined under you because they want to make a huge paycheck or they want to go to events and they are here for the community, if you assume that and then you start pushing what you see in Cincy and what your goals are with Cincy and you start pushing that on them, it's going to eventually push them away. And that's happened to me with the frontline. I pushed her so hard because I never truly knew what her personal goals were with this business that she left Cincy. And she actually told me that she was overwhelmed with everything in her life. And I told her, and she told me that she was basically taking a step back from Cincy because she was overwhelmed in life. And I told her she needed to take some things off of her plate. And she said, I am, and it's Cincy. I'm choosing Cincy. And she told me that I pushed her to the breaking point of where this business wasn't fun for her because she joined as a hobbyist. And I completely missed it. I assumed that she was here to make money and to grow a team. Okay. If that has happened to you, you're not the only one. Okay. But that's why this step one, getting to know why this person joined and what they want from this business is so important, okay? It's also going to give you some insight on how you are going to work with that person. Because, for example, I just had a reinstatement, okay? I had a girl, I have no idea who this girl is. She has watched a couple of my trainings and she reinstated under me. And so I reached out to her today and she straight up told me, I am here as a hobbyist. She said, maybe in the future, I might want to make it a business. Perfectly fine. But I'm going to work differently with someone who is a hobbyist versus someone who tells me, hey, I want to make $600 on my first paycheck. I want to make a $500 paycheck versus I'm just here to get my products free and half off. Those two people, I am going to work with completely different. This person over here, hobbyist, I'm probably going to skip a lot of these steps that I'm about to share with you guys, okay? Versus I want to go full-fledged and make lots of money. I'm going to even add more steps than what I share with you guys, okay? I'm going to tell her from the beginning, I'm going to say, hey, if you want to go all in, you're going to have to get uncomfortable and I'm going to give you some tasks that are uncomfortable. Are you willing to do that? Okay. Once she says, or he, whenever that person says, yeah, I'm in. All right, let's go. Okay. So that is step one. Step two, first things first checklist. Okay. That is, in case anyone forgot, I don't know. Tell me how long you've been a consultant. Okay. And also tell me in the chat, did you do your first things first checklist when you joined? I did not. Okay. Katie told me to. And I wish that I would have gone back to actually do it. I did do it to a certain extent. Okay. But I was jumping steps, which was making things harder for me. If I would have started with step one on the first things first checklist, where it says, learn how to navigate your workstation, take a tour of the workstation, then I would have known how to put in a party order versus texting Katie saying, hey, can you help me do this? Okay. So this is super important. And I am a stickler with my new consultants with this first things first checklist. Okay. Now, sorry, that's Vince. If you've been a consultant for a while, you don't remember what that looks like, I'm about to show you guys, okay?
Also, I want to unmute myself real quick while you open that up. I don't know if y'all know this, but you can check. This is something I should have said earlier. You can see if they've done their first things first checklist. Go to the sensational start reporting part, and it'll say checklist or whatever. It'll say complete or incomplete. Go check it. Don't let them homies lie to you. Go check it.
Hey, Whitney, it won't let me share my screen. It says I'm disabled.
I just changed
Okay,
it.
got it. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so like Chastity said earlier, these are my notes, right? Like Chastity said earlier, sometimes it's hard to navigate our workstation and to find specific things, okay? For example, earlier today when I was writing my notes, I literally was searching for this document, and on my phone, I found it so easy, but then I'm on my computer trying to find it, and that's why I had to add the link. So I will share this link in the group after the training, okay? But this is the first things first checklist, okay? So a lot of us have been around for a couple years. I don't remember everything that was on the first things first checklist off the top of my brain. So if you're like me, then you come over here, and since he literally has it written out, this is exactly what your new teamies are going to see, okay? So if you don't know the steps, then you need to go through here and refresh your memory, okay? So this literally has everything that your new consultant needs to know in order to hit the ground running with their business, if they are here more than a hobbyist, okay? So, and by the way, this is a system. This checklist is Cincy's system. This is how they set up for their new consultants to be successful. This is considered a system, okay? So what I do is I literally tell them, once I find out what their why is, I get to know them, then I will text her or him and say, Okay, next step is I want you to log into your workstation, and on the dashboard, there is going to be a first things first checklist. I want you to go through that and make sure you check as you complete them. Make sure you check it, because this is super important when it comes to sensational start. Did you know that if you meet all the requirements for sensational start, but you don't click the check boxes and your 70 days has passed, did you know that you will not earn it? That one thing of not checking the checkbox on your first things first checklist will cause you not to get all of that free product credit and all of those awards. Okay, that is super important. That's why you need to tell your new consultants this, okay? Because a lot of people don't realize they can go through it and they've done it, but they haven't actually done it in Scentsy's eyes. And that's where Chastity said earlier, you can actually go to make sure that they have gone through and checked it with the report that she told you guys about, okay? It's a sensational start report, okay? It'll say over on the right-hand side, complete or incomplete, yeah. So once they are done with this system, then I will tell them, hey, once you're done, then I want you to text me and let me know, okay? Once that's done, I have them write down any questions while they're going through the first things first checklist. I have them compile questions, and I will tell them, I don't want you messaging me back and forth on like questions while you're doing this, because the first things first checklist really does not take long, okay? They can do it all in a day. They can read through it all in a day and learn, okay? So then I have them write down all their questions. They will message me what their questions is, and I give them the opportunity to either, number one, get on a phone call with me, because I don't mind phone calls. That's up to you. If you don't want to do phone calls, don't do phone calls, okay? So I'll either say, do you want to get on the phone and I can go over all of these, any gray area or anywhere where you need further assistance or me to explain something more, I'd love to get on the phone with you. If not, we can talk through voice messenger or we can talk via text, okay? I leave it up to them, whatever that person is comfortable with. And then next is, I actually have, and I think YouTube was brought up earlier by Chastity, possibly. I actually have a new consultant YouTube checklist. Okay, well, it's a video series, and they're all super short videos. Most of them are like 3 to 4 minutes. And I basically explain further each step of this first things first checklist. Okay, so I will send them that link or a specific video if they have only one question on, hey, can you explain more about how we get paid? Then I will send them that video. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, I highly suggest it. It does take a little bit of time and effort, but a YouTube channel, especially if you put them, this is a system, guys, okay? It's replicatable. And so that way you're not repeating yourself to 12 teamies that have joined you in the last however many days or months. You're not repeating yourself. All you have to do is send them a video that you've already done the training on with the information that they are asking for, and they can rewatch that 4-minute video or however long it is, okay? That is a system. I wish I waited until I was a superstar director, or I might have been a star director. I was either a star director or a superstar director before I created my YouTube channel. And I wish I would have started it when I was a lead consultant, certified consultant, doing trainings on my director's team page, because I could have saved all of that valuable content that I took time and energy to create and to train, and it would still be on my YouTube channel, okay? So if you don't have a YouTube channel, highly recommend it. Step 4 is I help them with their launch party, okay? Now, that does not mean I am doing it for them. There is a difference between me hosting a party for a host to join and then someone joining and me doing their launch party, okay? Launch parties, I am there as a support system. I'm there to help answer any questions because, yes, this person is new and she might not know the answer to what chemicals are in the bathroom cleaner, okay? But I'm also going to give her many challenges and to basically share what has worked for me in the past and encourage that person to get up, go live with their kit in their launch party page, okay? And because if you're doing the work for them, what's going to happen is as soon as their launch party is over and they have a party that's been booked, they're not going to know what to do. They're literally going to come to you and say, hey, can you help me with this party again? No, it's not fair to you and it's not fair to that person, the new teamie, okay? So let me, hold on. Let me stop my screen share. Does anybody have a YouTube channel? And actually tell me if you have a YouTube channel and tell me what your, tell me how long you've been with Scentsy or tell me your title. Anybody that's a lead star, superstar consultant already have a YouTube channel? Okay, that's great. I recommend starting as soon as possible. I know I was very intimidated by YouTube. It's super easy. It doesn't have to be pretty. Like Chastity said earlier, we don't care about cover photos or any of that. Okay, none of that. Save your photos. It will literally save you so much time in the long run. Okay. So launch party. You are there for ideas, support, hype, and to basically help them have the courage to do this launch party. Okay. Because the reality is that the success of their launch party is going to propel them forward into their business. Okay. If they have a crappy launch party, they're going to get down on their business, right? They're going to get down on themselves. They're going to be like, okay, well, if I can't have a launch party, how am I going to make this business work? So that is super important, is for them to have a launch party. And I know a lot of people don't think that they need a launch party. I don't care if you're a reinstatement or if you just joined and you want to get products for free and half off, a launch party is always the way to go. Okay. All right, next. I also challenge them to always book one party from their launch party. That's going to propel them forward, okay? Okay, step number 5. Help them get social. This is where you're going to teach them to follow up with the people from their launch party, okay? And then you're also going to teach them how to show up on social media. And I'm not going to go too far into this because next Monday is the last training for this series. And we are speaking specifically on social media, why it's important. It's going to be a very basic training, but this business is a people business. So if you're not willing to put yourself out there, you're not willing to talk to people, to bring in PRV, to bring in customers, to bring in relationships, to bring in new teamies, then there's really no point in being here. If you're not willing to get social, there truly is no point in being a consultant, okay? So help your teamie get social, give them small goals to work towards. The first one I would say is tell them to go live and open their join kit. They're probably going to be terrified, but they're going to grow from it. You only grow when you get uncomfortable. Okay. All right. I was going to talk about milestones in this business. So the first one is going to be shooting star. That is 500 PRV in your first 15 days. Okay. You are going to utilize their launch party to help them hit this milestone. Okay. Once they hit that milestone, then I help them aim for certified. And I tell them why certified is important. Well, I tell them why shooting star is important as well. I don't know if the statistics have changed, but did you know that only 30% of consultants, at least when I joined, it might be a little bit different now, 30% of consultants hit shooting star. Has that changed? Do y'all know? 30%. Okay. So if you hit shooting star, you should be damn proud. Okay. Yeah. Who on here hit shooting star? That's huge. So once your girl or boy hits shooting star, then we move on to certified. Why is certified important? Because they get a pay raise. They get a pay raise. Not only do they get a pay raise, it's helping you earn annual mentor. Tell me in the chat what annual mentor is. Who knows what annual mentor is? Annual mentor is an award that Cincy gives us for recruiting. For recruiting. Yes, it's 14 personally sponsored frontline who hit certified between April and May. Sorry, May and April. Okay. You get 1,000. No, sorry, that's the PRV. You get money for each person that hits certified. And then you get more money for each person that hits lead. Okay. And it keeps going. So not only are you helping them get a pay raise, but it's also helping you go earn this award. Okay. And if you earn annual mentor, you need to give yourself a freaking pat on the back, because that is a hard milestone to hit in this company. Okay. It is a hard one, but let me tell you, it is worth it and you can do it. You have to make up in your mind, and you do have to sit down and make a plan to hit that milestone. Okay. All right. Back to the milestones for your new consultants. Shooting star certified. Once they get certified, then I move on to sensational start with them. Okay. But if they are working, the steps that I just went through with you guys, they are going to hit sensational start. Okay. But they can easily hit it if they're willing to recruit. Recruiting is going to be a faster and easier way for them to hit the different levels versus only focusing on the PRV. Unless they're a high PR, unless they have, a really strong support system already. Okay. Because we have to remember that when someone first starts this business, they are in the process of growing their customer base. And that goes back to why it's so important to have a launch party and why it's important to announce on social media, hey, I'm a Cincy consultant, and not to just put a random freaking banner that they got off Pinterest. I joined Cincy. No, please tell them to use a photo of them and their family, them and their why, a photo of themselves, their dog, their kids, their husband, spouse, wife, whatever. It needs to be personal. It needs to be personal. No one is going to want to see, I joined Cincy. Well, guess what? How many people join Cincy all the freaking time and do nothing with it? People want to support someone who takes this business seriously. Okay? So, I have step 6. I have one more. And Chastity already kind of hit on this. Recognition. This is part of being a leader. Okay? It is your job to recognize the behaviors you want repeated. Chastity said that. Rewarding behaviors you want repeated. That is called recognition. So if you see someone, if your teamie goes live unboxing their kit for the first time, I truly hope that you are up there supporting them on that live call. And if you can't for whatever reason, you at least need to go back and watch the replay and comment and hype them up and be supportive, and then screenshot it and post it on your team page and say, oh my God, so-and-so went live for the first time. They did amazing. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to give your new teamie a boost of confidence, and they're going to be like, oh, wow, she does support me, or he does support me. And then they're going to be like, wow, yeah, I didn't die. And I guess I did okay on my first live. And then guess what happens after that? They do another live, and then they get more comfortable, and then they go on their stories and they talk on their stories and they show you how to change your wax, and they're showing you whatever they do in their office. Okay. I know I'm getting into social media, so I'm just going to end that. But recognition is huge. Everybody loves to be recognized. I love to be recognized. Everybody loves to be told that they're doing a good job. Okay. That is a big part of being a leader. Okay. We have to tell them they're doing a good job. All right, I was going to show you guys, I'm going to share my screen one more time. So I was going to show you guys a couple more resources. And all of these are directly from the workstation. All right. All right, can y'all see? Chastity, say yes, you can see? Okay. All right, so this is, all I went is clicked on training. And then I go browse by topic. There's an entire folder right here for new consultants, okay? There's also one right here for new sponsors. So I'm gonna click on new sponsors. And here we go. These two, I really want you to take some time to look at, okay? New sponsor checklist. Since he literally created this for us. And while this one's downloading, I already downloaded one of them. Oh, okay. How do I move that? I don't know. I'll get there. All right, so this is a great system that you can use if you are struggling with where to start with your new teamies, okay? There's a little checklist. You can check it off as you go. You can print one off for each person that you sponsor and train them this way if you don't have or you don't feel comfortable making your own, okay? And then I already downloaded the other one, but we can't get to it apparently. This mentor sheet. This is also a system that you can use and this you can actually write on it and keep track, okay? And keep track of when is their shooting star date? When is their sensational start 70 days date, okay? Did they earn it? When was their launch event? You don't have to have their email and birthday and all that stuff. That's already in the workstation, but you can even come down here and write down, why did they join Cincy? What are their goals? Do they have any training requests? Okay. Utilize the resources that Cincy literally gives us. We forget how much is on the workstation and how much of it can literally help build our business. So we have to stop reinventing the wheel. And before we start creating something, how about we just go into the workstation? Because 9 times out of 10, since he probably already made it for us and it's just waiting for us to download it and print it off and use it for ourselves. Okay. So that is all that I have for y'all.
Okay. And let me the only thing that Ray, thank you. You did so good. I love that. And exactly what Ray said is right about it's in the workstation. Guys, when we all joined, I know I can speak for the SSDs, we didn't have any of this stuff. Like none of this stuff was on the workstation like that. I know a lot of times we complain about not being able to find something in the workstation, but we have to take ourselves back and be thankful for what we have now because we literally had nothing. So don't recreate the wheel. If you're sitting here like, I don't know where to start, that's where you start. Okay. That's where you start. If you are not sure what new consultants are even getting trained on, go train yourself like a new consultant. Go click on those new consultant things. That's how, especially like someone asks you how to enter a party order, it's there. They need to go find it. And then the last thing that I am going to say about a system, like we've already talked about a million times, I do use boards so that I have stuff saved on my board in my phone that I'm going to say all the time, if that makes sense. So like if I'm going to be saying, set your shooting star goal or unbox your kit live or whatever it is, guys, you can have that in a board. After this call, I'll post on the classes in session page some links to some boards that people have shared. There's way more than you could ever need when it comes to that. And I want you to listen to Chastity. Listen to Chastity. Don't go and dive into boards if you've never trained someone yet. Figure out what it is that you need to train on and how and what it is that you want to say, because what will happen very quickly, that's why I shut down when I started using boards to begin with. I got very overwhelmed. So I'm honestly like sometimes even hesitant to share a lot of those because there's so much information on those onboarding boards that a lot of it is way too much information to give to people. But I want to give you guys the resources of what you can pull from. So I'm going to give you like 5 or 6 different boards. And if you're going to use boards, make it your own. Please don't just take somebody else's and then send 30 text messages, one a day, because that's just going to overwhelm people. Figure out what's going to work for you. Yes, what Whitney just said is don't focus on leadership systems. If you haven't sponsored yet, go sponsor. Does anybody have any questions? Ray, I didn't mean to like cut you off or anything. I just wanted to add that in about boards before I posted it.
No, that's good. And go sponsor. That phrase just like brought something to me. If you are new and you are still learning, but you feel like you have your PRV down, but you feel like you're not ready to sponsor, let me just tell you that you're never going to feel fully ready to sponsor. Okay.
You will never be ready.
Want to grow a business, like that's your goal, and your PRV is down, then just go and ask some of your customers, literally, are you interested in joining? Okay, because what's going to happen, and I know like being a leader is very scary. I never in a million years thought that I would be a leader ever. Okay, and let me tell you, you are going to learn so much alongside your new teamie. You both are going to learn some of the same things, and you're both going to learn different things. Okay. You're going to learn how to mentor people, and you're going to see that it's easier than it looks, but at the same time, it's hard. Okay. It's simple, but it's hard. So yes, you learn by doing. So
literally just say, do you want to do Cincy with me? Like do it with you. Like it's that simple.
Yep. I sponsored, my very first sponsor was my childhood best friend, and I literally had no idea what I was doing.
Is
and
she
I
still with you?
I was like, no, she's not a consultant anymore. But I was like, do you want to, she was like, I think I want to join. I shared my very first paycheck with her. She was like, I think I want to join. I was like, yeah, let's do it together. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we can learn together. So just go out and do it. If that's something you want to do, go out and do it.
Yep. And you'll never know all the answers. We don't know all the answers. We ask each other questions all the time. So.
Yep. All right. Let's give them the assignment real quick.
You want me to stop recording?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, hold on.